problem with them. That this institution is supposed to be the highest court in the land. This institution is supposed to be sacrosanct. This institution is supposed to represent the best among us and the brightest among us, gathering to safeguard the interests of us all. That's not what's happening. Whatever we do, we stay in 6 feet apart. Make sure everybody's aware. Anybody else who comes. I have people who are asking me, what could a candle do? The last time I lit one candle, it caused a response throughout this country. And the people stood together for Andrea Barrett. One candle could change the world. So what's the point of 1,000,000 candles? Send a message to those seeking political office, for those campaigning. If we lit 10,000 candles tonight, it would send a message to them. If we lit 100,000 candles tonight, it would send a message to the world. So you don't have to be where I am to light your candle. But tonight, I am lighting this candle for Trinidad and Tobago. For truth, decency, accountability, transparency, democracy, and a return to the function of good governance and the rule of proper law. In exchange of all of that, we've gotten political thuggery, bacchanal and noise. This supposedly hallowed chamber comes across like a drunken bar, with the speaker as barman telling everybody who could drink and who could talk. This is not the highest, best representation of our country. It's not. And today, the governments and the parliament $1.4 million people own this country. A handful of political investors, some small parties, control our representation. Good night, my lord. Cool and calm, how things with you? Democracy, doing a proper law with governance. This place represents where you and I have our political voices made. I gotta understand it anyway. I know. And I called one of my team members and I said, will people expect it? Because I lit the first candle country. I said, would they expect me to? Because you know me, I'm not a It's not yet time to gather. And you could light your candle where you are, do your video, take your picture. You show your support for the rule of proper law and good governance and send a message. Because that's the most important thing. There are people who would tell you that when you disagree with what takes place in this building, that you're supposed to march and make noise. I don't think we anywhere near marching and making noise. Until we could unite this nation away from racist voting. You see, the racist voting is not really the problem as reprehensible as race voting. Important thing. There are people who would tell you trying to represent you, yet 59 years later, regardless of who is on which side of the divide, we have no water, we have no roads, food prices high, public health is crap, education is nonsense. Trinidad and Tobago has no view, no plan, no vision. If we didn't accidentally strike oil, Trinidad would be Haiti. Eric Williams had no plan. When the Queen left, Trinidad could have collapsed. If we didn't accidentally have oil and an oil boom in the 70s and 80s, if we didn't get that, if we didn't get a follow-up oil boom after that and under Patrick Manning, because that's what we lived on. There still is no plan. Nobody knows what the plan is for Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody's aware. Nobody could tell you when this parliament meets and speaks, what is the vision, what's the goal, what's the objective, what are the measurables, besides the nonsense talk and the argument, the backbiting, the bacchanal, the name calling. Besides that, what are the objectives of the parliament? What are the goals? Because if you don't know, if within your 5-year term of governance, you don't have a plan and a goal and something to achieve, if it is government on the hoof and policy by VAPs, then we end up with Napa, Sapa, Tapa, Taruba, Kuva. We end up with stuff that we don't need. We don't know why we're getting it. We have massive contractors getting filthy rich, giving money back to members of parliament, ministers of government. Every institution of state in Trinidad and Tobago is believed to be corrupt to the core. Every institution of state. This is a country where the Equal Opportunity Tribunal is being sued by a woman born without arms who is being discriminated against by the Equal Opportunity Tribunal. Now, if that is not a perfect bookend to the madness that is Trinidad and Tobago, if that doesn't explain to you that this PNM-UNC nonsense will never, ever redound to the benefit of you and your family, if after everything you've seen in the last 59 years, because this is still a lifetime, this is still a lifetime. People were born in 1962 and they've lived an adult life 59 years old. And for everything that's happened in that time, nothing has elevated of the people of Trinidad and Tobago collectively. We have a couple people fabulously wealthy who have taken advantage of the political mismanagement, have taken advantage of the race vote to their benefit. But Trinidad, every now and then, we get a Hazley Crawford, a Keyshawn Walcott, every now and then we get a Brian Lara, but all of that is by VAPs. All of that is not part of a plan. We have multi $100 million velodromes, pools. We have more stadium per capita than Italy. And we do not operate sport with a plan for the development of our people. So all of them who go on to shine on the world stage, they don't do that because of Trinidad and Tobago. They do that in spite of Trinidad and Tobago. None of the people we claim, none of the great people shining on the world stage, when we say a Trini shining, but when you check, they only shining because they've escaped Trinidad and Tobago. What does that tell you about this building? What does it tell you about your children and the collective? What does it say about where we are and where we're going? This building, you see, we lose 5-year chunks of our lives between elections. 5 years of my life, your life, everybody's lives, waiting to see every time if one of these political gangs will live up to even our lowest esteem. They fail to miss that bar every time. And Tobago has a real opportunity right now. So you can't say who we go put. The PDP in Tobago is a real political opportunity, separate and apart from the political insanity of the racist dynasty of change and exchange. So if Tobago doesn't use this opportunity, and I'm not saying the PDP can't fail, you know, but even if the PDP fails, Tobago succeeds. Because Tobago gets to say, we decide. You don't decide for us. You don't come and lie to us, and all of a sudden, you want to sort out all of our problems. All of a sudden, you want to be the change we need because we have an option. That's like a man who treats a woman bad. When all of a sudden, she have a next man interested in her, he treating her good, he buying her flowers, he buying her clothes, he taking her out for dinner. It's too late. Tobago needs to tell the PNM, you had enough time to treat right with Tobago. Instead of using Tobago for all your friends and financiers to come and rob, rape, plunder, and pillage while the THA was used as a salary handout. The THA is a grandiose URP CPEP. Because all it does, and all the PNM has done in Tobago, is to whittle down people's hopes and their aspirations and what they could have done and become with their lives. And I'm saying to the people of Tobago, you have a real opportunity to tell the PNM, the same way you rejected the UNC with a container of iPads and iPhones, reject the PNM with their container of nonsense promises. You trying to tell me all of a sudden you know Tobago roads need paving? You trying to tell me all of a sudden you know parents with 2 children need childcare? You trying to tell me all of a sudden you know that they have land and deed issues in Tobago? You trying to tell me all of a sudden you know that Tobagonians suffering despite being one of the best countries on the planet? Tobago should be the tourism jewel of the world. It's not. Instead of maximizing Tobago's potential, we've destroyed it. Who is responsible for that? On whose watch did that happen? And we have to ask ourselves as people, because Tobagonians need to ask themselves, how much longer will an island that has more history than Barbados and Jamaica and most of the other Caribbean islands, an island that has more history than Trinidad, Tobago have 500-600 more years of history than Trinidad. Tobago was fought over more than most territories in the world for its value. The people of Tobago need to shake off this abuser. The PDP, they can't attack the PDP racially. That ain't no Calcutta ship. That is Tobago born. And the Tobagonian voter have the ability now to change the way Trinidad and Tobago sees itself politically. And Trinidad